It's John. Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Okay, this is going on YouTube. All right, so let's get going. I'm going to start by doing a couple things. If this continues, we are not going to go in. It's not video anymore. Okay. All right. So we're going to get started. There's a couple things you need to do. Let's talk about your onion. We're going to go and make sure that everyone cuts your onion exactly the same way, because there's only one way to cut the onion, all right, in dicing it. If you cut it once, that's it. Don't cut it again, okay? Very different from haché. So you learn haché, you're learning how to dice an onion. So pretend that the onion is growing, there's a top and there's a root. The root is a brown stuff and it has little things coming off, that's a root, okay? So when you guys are cutting, pretend it's half, you're gonna go straight down the line. Remember when the onions always follow the lines. That's my key for you, so write that down. Always follow the lines when you're doing an onion. Okay, so we're going to do some onion with the, we're just going to do tomato very simply, and I'm going to do a very quick tomato sauce, okay? So don't need to do much with it. Then after that, you're going to go and peel the top layer, okay? And if it's only half it, that's fine. Okay. Then I'm going to go and cut a little bit of the root off because that has dirt in it, and I want to make sure it doesn't go into my food. Then the second thing is a very important thing. I'm going to put, there's a root, okay, right here. Always put it away from you. This root is going to stay intact, so do not cut it off, okay? So right now, if I pull off the layers, it will still kind of stay together. It is held by the root. Okay? Until I kind of snap it off. So make sure that this root is still staying. Then you're going to follow the lines. Okay? There's many small little lines, but what you're going to do is that you're going to point your knife, and you're going to go and take a stab at it, and then you're going to go all the way down. Okay? Then try not to cut it off, actually. And then point, and then go all the way down. And make sure that the strips are even, because eventually your reason for cutting properly is so that your food comes up consistently. If its food is like one big, one small, one's going to be raw and the other one's overcooked. So you need to make sure that when you're cutting, all your food looks consistent, and that's part of knife skills too. How consistent are your onions? Do they all look exactly the same at the end? All right? So I'm going to go and point and follow through, point and follow through, and I got to go through the whole thing, curving, going down. There's a more complex way, but I'm not going to teach you that. So at this point, I'm actually cutting it so that it's still together and intact because I didn't go all the way through. So right now it looks like an accordion. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah? Flour, whatever it is that you want to say. Okay? Whoa. So this bottom part is still intact. That is key. Do not go all the way through. You want it to be intact. Okay? Then, so these are called the vertical strips. If you are more advanced, you actually do horizontal strips too. What? So, and that usually happens in a senior. So then after this, you turn to the side, and this time you're going to follow through. So now I'm going to cut the opposite way, perpendicular to these lines. Okay? So I'm going to go point, and I'm going to follow through now. And I'm kind of creating a square. So before I cut, I actually take a look with my on the other side, and I take it, it's going to be a square. Then I cut. If it looks like a rectangle, obviously it's not a square, right? So then you're going to go and make sure that it's a square, then cut, okay? Because you're making a dice, and a dice is a square. Thank you. Okay, keep that in mind. Once I cut the onions, you can't go and haché it again. This is where you cry. As also, the other way that makes you cry is if you actually cut it in a different direction than what I told you. All right? It increases the amount of, because right now there's no weeping of the onion juices. But if you do the other way, the onions actually cry more. Okay, meaning it lets out its juice and make you cry. So you're going to cut off the end. Once it gets to a point where I can't balance, I just knock off the edge. I'm going to avoid the end right here, which is the root, and I cut all around it. Then that's it. Okay? Make sense? All right. If you don't know how to do the onion, I will say that you can review this video over and over and over again until you get it. Okay. Second thing, we're going to get started. There's two things I'm going to do. I'm going to get my tomato sauce going, and And it's really easy. I said that usually you do fresh if you find it, but tomato is an exception because tomatoes, it is a, right here I have like around half cup. You will be making around a cup's worth, okay? So not that you need to grab that much, but in the end, your result is that you're gonna get around a cup's worth, okay? And you're gonna be making your tomato sauce. And it's the easiest sauce that you'll ever make, okay? Especially if you have canned tomatoes. You're gonna have one that says tomatoes only. So if you look at the list of ingredients, you'll be surprised. It says canned tomatoes, but read your ingredients. Sometimes you have 3 or 4 different ingredients that are left also in there. And that means that it's 100% preservatives, okay? So if it's preserved, it will alter the taste of the food. So make sure that it says just tomatoes for the ingredients. And because if you think about it, when tomatoes are in season, it's in August. So that means that any tomato that you're getting right now is raw or not fully optimal. So the canned tomatoes is actually the best. And this one's actually from Italy. So they ripen the tomatoes, they actually peel it, and then afterwards I use it, and I always have the best taste when it comes to it. So I'm going to do it with a little bit chili because I want to. Now think about this. However, you're going to flavor your tomatoes however you want, and you're going to flavor your meatballs. But if it's spicy on spicy, that'll become super spicy because you're putting it together. So you want some, if this is going to be like a little spicy, you're going to make this one less, okay? You're going to make it so that it's sweet, or you can make it sour, but don't make it spicy. So you have different flavors going on. Is everyone clear about that? Okay. So while that happens, I'm also going to cut my garlic. And this one, yes, you can hash it.
Is this for the tomatoes here?
Yeah. And actually, because I need tomatoes and onions for my meatballs too, I'm going to do it both at the same time. Why am I going to waste my time doing it twice? Boys. Okay, one of you guys move over there. That's the one thing I do not like is when a video goes on, I need to discipline. Well, I'm doing one, but if you like garlic, then do 2. I don't really care. It's up to you. Do you understand now? I can't. Exactly. You need to feel the food. You need to observe the food, taste the food. It's all up. You just have to literally be observing and tasting all the time, and be a critique of your food. Oh, is it a little? Do I need more of something? Do I need less of something? And that's what makes it so that it tastes good. Okay? It really is cooking from the heart. So now, just because I'm sauteing doesn't mean that I can't do it in a sauce pot. So I'm going to actually get that going. Take a little bit of olive oil, the darker one, put a round of it in here. And I'm going to go and start to saute a little bit of my onions. Actually, to be honest, because this is being more efficient, so I'm doing this smarter, I'm just going to go and put this right in. Okay, all of this. And I'm going to cook up my onions. Okay, and I was about to go and cook my onions in here, and these are going to be separate. Because half of my onions are going to be for the tomato sauce. The other half is going to be for my meatballs. Now, you can add the raw onions, but I find that it doesn't taste as good as cooked onions. So I'm just going to take the extra time to do so. All right? While that happens, I'm going to take this bloody beef. Okay? And I'm going to go and take it. Now, there's a couple things that make really good meatballs. One is actually bread. So that's missing. Because there's actually a binder. Well, not binder, but it actually is filler. Okay. So and the other thing that we're going to add, so if Cheyenne can get me a slice of bread, that would be great. Okay? And the other thing will be egg. Egg is a binder. So I'm going to saute, and I notice that it's starting to get brown, but I don't really like that. So I'm just going to go and take a little bit of water. I'm just going to go and add it in. I don't want a lot of water. I'm not drowning it. I'm just lifting up all the flavor, letting it kind of cook evenly. Once it smells that it's getting sweet, thank you. I'm going to go and add my garlic. Okay, so you have your bowl of, or amount of beef right here. The better amount of meat that you could have, or meatballs, honestly, will be ones that are not lean ground beef. You want it to have a little bit of fat in here, because the fat is what actually creates flavor. So sometimes you ever have cravings? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, cravings actually come from the fact that the fat is being digested, going through. So when that happens, a lot of times people have cravings because the cravings carry flavor in there. So maybe you had a McDonald's fried fat, and then it goes through you. And then as that happens, you get a craving. What does that say when I have cravings all the time? Okay, I'm going to go and take half of it, and I'm going to put it to the side. Okay, so this is sauteed enough. I'm going to go and add and toast my spice right now. So it's going to be a little bit of chili flakes because I want it to be a spicy. Spicy. Okay. If you're going to take whole spices, at this point, pretend it's my cumin. I'm going to go and add my whole cumin. So actually, Eric, can you get me a cumin? Not human, cumin. Okay. Once I toasted everything enough, I'm going to go and add all at once. And you don't want it to sizzle too much, but you're going to add all at once.
Without the tomatoes?
The tomatoes, yep. And they're going to be whole tomatoes in there. This one's just a remnant of the whole one. So then what you do is that you use your hand and you squish it. Okay?
You put the squish stuff in or just the juice?
You're going to put the whole thing in, squished and all. Okay? Yeah. Nope. All I do is just put it in. It's going to be whole tomatoes. All you do is just put it in, give it a little bit of squishing. You're going to add a little bit of salt. Okay? Always add some seasonings because in the beginning, the seasoning helps bring flavor together. Okay?
So.
Right? Okay, so I have 20 minutes. Guys, you're going to have majority of my sauces done?
Yeah.
Okay, I need it to be done today.
Wait, what are you supposed to squeeze?
If it's like a whole tomato, then you squeeze it with your hand.
Oh, you have whole tomatoes?
You will be having whole tomatoes.
Okay.
It like meaning it's canned and
Wait,
it's whole.
so you just squeeze, wait, what?
You squish it, that's all. What are you gonna say anything?
If it wants to be all chunk, like a big chunk in there?
Yeah, that's why you squish it, so it becomes not. I don't understand.
Just squeeze it.
Here, can I get a tomato?
Guys. Could you give it
Victoria, can I get a tomato?
You squish it.
Or whatever.
With your
If it
hand.
want to just be a chunk of tomato that you plop in there?
Yeah, and then you squish it,
No.
and then it won't be.
There is
Because you
a
squish it.
tomato. Take a tomato.
Oh.
And then you go in and you squish it.
I was just thinking
Look
like
at
tomato.
that.
Yes, like a
Squish
juice.
tomato.
I was thinking of a raw
I thought it was
tomato.
a full raw
That-
tomato.
you're just
and I
I
was
told
like,
you, they're all canned tomatoes. They're canned whole tomatoes.
I was thinking of a raw tomato. Just
Yeah,
like,
listen, guys, I said it's a canned whole tomato.
I thought of a can with a full tomato in it. I don't know.
Okay,
At least you asked
alright.
questions.
Can I keep going because this is only 20 minutes, seriously. You're not going to eat your food at this point. Okay, 15 minutes now. Thanks. So you're going to put a little bit of sherry vinegar in. Yes, you feel for it. Then afterwards, you're going to go and add a little bit of brown sugar, just a little bit, because what you're doing is you're taking away the natural sour taste that's in there, and you're going to balance it out. Okay, so I'm going to cook it down only a little bit, and it's simmering. It's not high heat, so I shouldn't be, even when I add the tomatoes, I'm not seeing like a big chunk of like smoke, all right? It's just simmering, so little bubbles, that's it. While that happens, I'm going to cut my one, okay? And I'm going to put this in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and add some water. Okay? And I'm going to go and actually soften the bread. Okay. While that happens, I'm going to go and get going with all the other things I'm going to add. So if it's cumin, if I want to toast it, I'm going to turn this on, no oil, and add a little bit of my cumin. Remember, these are strong spices, so do not add too much. You can always add, but you can't take away. All right? And then afterwards, while that happens, I'm going to start adding my different types. I'm going to add smoked paprika. Because I like smoked paprika. Smoked paprika.
Wait, did she squish?
There's smoked paprika.
No, that's the one with the meat.
Are these it's just your sauces that you're feeling?
Yes, it's whatever I feel right now.
That's right, spicy.
And you are not following what I'm doing. You are creating your own, by the way. So you guys are literally not following. And I feel like adding anchovy because I think it's going to taste pretty good.
You know
You feel like the spices?
You do. You actually smell and
Yeah.
and that's what
close your eyes,
it means
brand
to
of
cook.
spices.
And to be creative is just trying different things out. Okay, I simmered it out enough. It's slightly chunky. I'm done. Do you see how fast it was? My tomatoes? It was like literally less than 5 minutes. I toasted my
Isn't that
spice right here, my cumin, and I'm just gonna go and chop it up. Okay? How do I know when it's ready to take it off the heat? Is when I can smell it. Okay? And it sounds funny once again, but like I said, it's all about trying things out. Okay? And there is science behind cooking, and I am, because adding which ones first is science. But it also, a good cook is knowing what to add and when to add. So it's all about smelling it, tasting it, okay, feeling it. There you go. Okay, adding the anchovy, and then we're gonna go and put this in. And I'm gonna go and add what is it? This Worcestershire because I like it. Just a little bit. That was gross. All over me. And the other half, I have a little bit of grainy Dijon because I like it.
I'll smell
How do I know these combos? Half trying it before, and the other half is because I've tasted enough food to go and know. So the more you taste food, the more that you try different things, the better you're going to get at this. I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese because I have some extra. Okay, and it's a creamy cheese. So if you have a cheese that you want to add, go for it. Okay. The cheese is going to melt. You're not going to taste the cheese. It just makes it so it's creamier and a little fattier. That's good for this. Okay. You're going to go and take now your bread that's soaked in water, and you're going to go and squish out the kind of like roasty again.
Squeeze the bread
Squeeze
now.
it all out.
Okay.
Okay.
The bread, the water out of the bread.
So squeeze it.
Why are you guys making carrots and celery? I never want carrots in my tomato.
Oh.
Tomato sauce is literally what I did too, right here. Carrots are never supposed to be in tomato sauce. You can follow what I just did. I'm going to add some parsley just because actually I don't like parsley. So, but I like green, so I'm going to add some speckled green in there. Just because. So I usually just fold up my herbs and then I chop it. Once again, you can hash it.
No, but what is it? Oh, okay.
Don't write it down because
No, I
you're
was just
not
wondering what it was.
Now, also, the other thing is, I don't want you guys to waste food. So whenever you're cooking, you have to respect the food. What I mean by that is, it takes a while for someone to actually raise an animal. I'm honest. It takes a while for you to raise an animal to be able to go and cook it, okay? And meat is expensive and stuff like that, all right? If you take a cheese, it actually takes, this one takes a couple of days, but some of them take 2 years to make. To go and make it and then go, oh, whatever, and then just throw it in the garbage, you're just wasting someone's work. Okay? Your own work, but also someone else's work. So take the time whenever you're cooking to not waste it by, and we are very privileged, but that's the thing. With great privilege also is a lot of responsibility with it, honestly. I know it sounds like Spider-Man, but it's also very true. Okay? So when you guys are cooking, I want you guys to take that to heart and be serious with it. If not, I don't think that you should be cooking. straight up. You don't get to cook if you don't understand this concept of not wasting food. Okay? So when you are cooking, do your very best to make sure that it tastes good. When you're adding, you just don't like just YOLO it. I'm serious. Okay? You're gonna actually take the time to go and taste it, do your best with it, and so that it will be something really good so you can serve others with it. That's the mark of a good cook. Alright? Okay, that's the attitude of a good cook. Alright? Not just to waste stuff. Like I use to the very bitter end the certain things, okay? So I want you to do the same. I'm going to take half an egg. You don't need more than that. So I'm going to take half an egg. Okay, this is the binder because it's protein. So protein, the eggs bind the, oops, there you go. Egg together. Alright, sorry, the meatball together. And this is the fun part. Oh, add some salt. Okay, I already have some pepper in here, so I don't want to do any more because of the paprika. So, this is the fun part. You're going to use your hands and you're going to squish it together.
And you squish it.
Then you squish it. Hear that sound. Okay? Make sure it's mixed in. Okay, so that when you eat it, you don't be the person who gives whoever, and they go, hey, that's a big chunk of not meat. I just see like a big chunk of bread that you just ate. Like that's not tasty. Okay. Okay. So once this is done, all right, and it becomes like this. You're gonna turn this on, and I also have turned my oven on to 350. Okay. I have a pizza pan ready to go. I'm going to add a little oil, and I'm going to cook a little bit of the food. Why am I doing that? Let's just think about this, because sometimes I'm not going to continue to tell you the reason why. You have to think about obvious reasons. So I'm going to add a little bit and put it in. Why am I doing that? Sorry? See if it sizzles. No matter what I'm going to do when I heat it up, it will sizzle. I guarantee you that. It's to taste. It is correct. Because if I can't taste my food, and once I make it into the meatballs, it could be like horrible tasting. And then it's too late because it's already mixed up. You know what I mean? And cooked. But right now, if I taste it like this, well, I'm going to kill myself because it's raw and it's also ground beef. So most likely I'm going to hurt myself with that. So I have to cook a little bit as a sample and taste it. Okay? And remember, Wednesday is not going to be a lot of time. So keep that in mind when you guys are doing it. Don't play around too much with the spices, meaning you will not have time to prepare before. You'll have to prepare everything beforehand. So everything is go, go, go. Okay? So do not just come here and say, oh no, that's it. What should I add that? I'm not sure. Didn't decide yet. Okay? That will make your marks for your attitude go down. Okay? Come here and prepare. Yeah. You always have to add oil to the pan. If you don't, you're just basically putting something into the dehydrator. Okay? Heat without oil means that there's no heat. Okay? So just frying it up. It doesn't matter how it's gonna be. Just gonna swish it up. I don't care. I'm eating it. That's all I'm doing. I'm just cooking it the fastest way possible. Mix it up. I don't care. Okay. As long as it's edible. Give this a taste. Oh, that's really tasty. Every single time I do this meatball lab for a pasta, it's never the same. Wait twice. Anchovies. This one. You already have one that's already open. You got it from there last time. I told you. The second eye. Okay. You're going to divide this up. Most likely you should be able to make meatballs that are able to come together. Now, the thing about this one is that you have to squish your meatball down. If you do not squish your meatball down, it will crumble after it's baked. Okay, so it's gonna be. So you can make 6 to, I would say 8 meatballs or so. Okay, half of them you're gonna give it 8 to 10. Just make sure that they're a little bit all the same size. Okay, so this one's a little bit smaller. Why would I want it to be the same size, other than the fact that if someone eats, I feel like that person didn't get the best deal. Okay? I hate it when someone's like, this one looks better, because I did a poor job. I did a poor job if someone has to go and choose which one's better. Okay? Yeah. So, yeah, they cook evenly. That is super key.
Yeah, no.
So they're nice and round. If you make it round, it will stay round. It's not going to all of a sudden turn from a square to a circle. Just saying. So this will be like very logical. So if you say, oh, it just didn't turn out to be a round, it's do you see how I'm actually squishing it too? I'm lightly squishing it. I'm not like crushing it in like this with my, in my hand, but I'm actually just kind of like squishing it slightly, and then I switch it around onto the other side. Okay? And as that happens, I am making it into a ball, but I'm squishing it so that it comes through. Okay? What is it that you guys have to bring on Wednesday? Whenever you do that from now on. Your own containers, yes. Yesterday, on Friday, I had someone knock on the door, and I wasn't there fast enough, and then someone left a present for me to clean. What do you think that was? A dirty plate. So, if you guys are borrowing something, make sure it comes back clean. Clean it yourself. Okay? Because you borrowed it. It's not my job to go and clean that plate. I'll be pretty busy. I won't be teaching. I'll be being dishwasher instead. Not that I mind. It's just that it takes away from the time that I should have to do. So 8 exactly for me. Okay. Get this nice steam. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it into the oven, and I'm going to make sure that it's fully cooked. How do I know it's cooked? Juices will run out. And actually, some of the proteins will run out too. So you might see some brown soup that's on the side that looks like egg white, but it's brown. That means that it is actually protein. Once that's done, take it out. The second way is that right now it's very squishy, right? If it feels like, if you put your finger to your thumb and your pinky finger together and you feel right here, it feels hard. That's how it's supposed to feel when I touch the meatball. Okay? That means it's fully cooked. Make sure it's fully cooked. Okay? And it goes, and you're going to be pouring the sauce under it. And then afterwards, if you want, there's 2 ways you could do it. You could put the meatballs into the sauce and just like roll it around or toss it around so it's coated. Or else you could just put the sauce under, but don't put it over because I want to see if it's fully cooked or not.
What do you mean by put it under? Like put it on
Like,
the plate first?
put it on the plate.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Remember, this time because it's not a cold dish. Yes, hot plate is good. Okay. And then afterwards you can actually, hot plate is good now. And but if it's salad, you don't do that because it's a cold dish.
We stood out.
Okay. Yes. So
Very
any
creative.
questions? Finish.
You guys did